Morning, Governor Stein, all my distinguished colleagues on the Council of State. It's an honor to serve alongside you. And I'm looking forward to making our state even greater together. I'll look forward to working with each of you and stand ready to provide financial expertise however we can in the coming years. If you'll indulge me for a minute though, I want to provide a little financial history of our state. So it'll be front of mind as you consider your areas of responsibility and advocate for your priorities with the General Assembly. It will also help frame some of the challenges we face with the Department of State Treasurer. North Carolina has for many years been a fiscally conservative state. It served us extremely well. We're one of 15 AAA states and enjoy some of the lowest borrowing costs in the country as a result. Up until the year 2000, the state carried almost no debt. After the passage of the largest higher education bond issue in the history of the United States in 2000, we entered a very different chapter financially. Debt servicing costs ballooned. We conceived of the Debt Affordability Advisory Commission in 2004 as a result. It's a committee whose sole task remains is to advise the state on how much debt it can reasonably incur. In 2004, though, we had no pension deficit. In fact, we didn't even have a required contribution into the pension fund in 2004. If we did have a liability associated with the state health plan back then, nobody even knew it. Much progress has been made financially in the state in the last 15 years in paring back some of that state debt and building reserves, but the pension and the healthcare liabilities have only grown. I bring this up as the Debt Affordability Commission released its annual report yesterday. For those who are financially minded, it makes for compelling reading. Thank you to Auditor Bolick, Controller Roseland, Budget Director Walker, Secretary of Revenue Wooten, and the dedicated staff of the State and Local Division of the Department of State Treasurer for your help in compiling this important report. The spoiler alert is this, though. While our level of traditional debt remains very modest, the debts or liabilities that we shoulder as relates to our pension plans and our state health plan are a multiple of our state budget now. The state contributed $3.3 billion into the Teachers Retirement Fund alone last year, and over $4 billion into the state health plan. Those twin challenges are what we face at the Department of State Treasurer, and I'll look forward to your support in being sure we develop a long-term plan to ensure that they do not become the only funding priority of our state. Speaking of funding priorities of the state, I'd like to give you an update on the recently enacted cash flow lending program for the Helene-ravaged portion of our state. As you know, Senate Bill 382 was passed in late December over the governor's veto to allow material relief to the western part of the state. Since taking office 34 days ago, the Department of State Treasurer has created a new division to run this program, including hiring a director, building financial infrastructure, coordinating with the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners and the League of Municipalities, gathering feedback directly from impacted local governments, communicating with legislators from Western North Carolina, developing a lending agreement, devising an equitable allocation methodology, and ensuring accountability for taxpayer dollars, because these are loans, not grants. The Department of State Treasurer has never been in the lending business, so we developed this from a standing start. We expect the first of these loans to be issued by the end of February, and we're happy that we can play a small part in helping this recovery. I'm proud of the efforts of our department. When we hit this goal at the end of the month, we will have built this program faster than the legislation that created it was passed, and twice as fast as the last time North Carolina tried to do any kind of lending of this sort. The Department of State Treasurer obviously cannot appropriate taxpayer dollars, nor execute the important work of physically rebuilding the western part of our state, but we can fulfill our statutory responsibilities well. We'll make sure pension payments are paid. We will provide health insurance, and we will safeguard the funds of the state in so many ways. I look forward to keeping you updated further on this topic. The final topic I'd like to address this morning is the status of the state health plan. As I'm sure many of you have read, the plan is in dire financial straits, projecting a deficit of $507 million in 2026 and $1.4 billion in 2027. From a high level, our problem is really simple. We have a materially higher growth rate in our expenses than we do in our revenues, and we're out of reserves to plug the difference. I know it's probably more interesting to talk about what caused this fire than it is to discuss how we're going to put this fire out. But as anyone in the firefighting profession will tell you, you put the fire out first, then figure out what happened, and make sure it never happens again. Years spent focusing on pointing fingers at others for our problems instead of focusing on finding solutions have caused this fire to burn out of control. That ends now. Make no mistake, We must get to price transparency to solve the long-term healthcare challenges in this state and in this country. And we're committed to doing just that. But we'll do that in partnership with other payers and with the providers in the state. I'll look forward to working with everyone in this room and everyone throughout the healthcare industry as we set out on a long-term path to improve the cost trajectory in healthcare. Thank you again. I look forward to working with you all. May God bless our great state.